and sign. push the button. All right. Do I have a motion to return to open session?
Second.
Ms. Franklin and Ms. Bond, any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Gitchery?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to certify closed session that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered?
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Gitchery and Dr. Roundtree, any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Gitchery?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to return student A to school?
Second.
Ms. Franklin and Dr. Roundtree, any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Gitchery?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to return student B to school?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Purcell and Ms. Bond. Any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Gitchery?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. All right, next up, we have Tate Smith from Auburn High School with us to perform the national anthem. The Auburn High School band director is Dawn Sechrist. All right, that was pretty cool.
That was really cool.
Ms. Bond and Ms. Franklin, has a school board meeting ever opened up with?
No.
Awesome.
Amazing.
We'll give Tate a minute to get packed up there. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. All right, great. Next up is the MCPS mission and belief statements. Our student representative tonight is Avi Gandhi from Christiansburg High School. Cyrus Underwood from Eastmont High School cannot be here tonight. Avi, will you please read our mission and belief statements?
Yeah. All right, so beginning with the mission, MCPS is an innovative educational community. We value diversity and we are committed to equity and inclusion. MCPS empowers learners to realize success in an ever-changing global society through collaboration with communities, families, staff, and students. MCPS provides a safe, engaging learning environment and intentional exposure to positive social, emotional, and academic experiences. Now, the beliefs. Number one, all students can learn in order to pursue their dreams. Number two, schools are safe places of joy, wonder, and creativity. 3, every person deserves to be loved, valued, and respected. 4, kindness is an essential skill of a responsible, productive community member. 5, the diversity of our community is one of our greatest strengths. 6, all people deserve equitable access to opportunities and resources. 7, every child deserves an advocate. 8, honoring the voices of students and other stakeholders strengthens the school community. 9, open communication and feedback are vital to our growth. 10, learning and teaching are collective efforts that begin at birth and involve the entire community. 11, relationship building and high expectations are foundational to student success.
Great, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our next item of business is the student representative reports. Avi, do you have a report from Christiansburg High School?
Yes, sir, I do. So, CHS has had a great start to the 2025 to 2026 school year and is excited about continuing to focus on its 3 core values of being respectful, connected, and responsible. The CHS administrative team held class meetings on the second week of school to review important items related to the core values of CHS, attendance expectations, counseling services, the hate speech policy, and much more to ensure that students have a strong understanding of the high expectations of CHS. If you had not had the opportunity to take a ride down Independence Boulevard over the past few weeks, please take time to go on a quick stroll and enjoy the completion of the new academic wing. Paved parking lots, new signages on the building, and much more. CHS is excited to be moving into the last stage of the construction project, with the completion date being August 2026. Students have been extremely excited about the new wing with its new classrooms, access to daylight, the ability to utilize the restrooms freely, and to navigate through less crowded hallways. The administrative team has already begun meeting with students who have received positive behavior referrals for the start of the school year. When a student is recognized for exemplifying our 3 core values, a positive referral is submitted by a faculty or a staff member. The student then receives a certificate along with the opportunity to pick from the treasure chest in Mr. Gwens' office. The senior class is also having an art competition that will decide the design of the senior shirt for the class of 2026. This demonstrates that our school will strive to maintain a connected community by providing students with opportunities to express their ideas and have their work be heard. Art submissions ended August 29th, and voting for designs will begin this week. Then the CHS marketing students are off to a strong start with the promotion of Demon Dispatch, which highlights school events and schoolwork and everything related to CHS through TikTok and Instagram. And this is completely student organized. CHS is planning to host their annual club fair on Friday, September 5th. We have quite a range of clubs and representation of student interests that include the Global Connections Club, Disc Golf Club, and Beta Club. Overall, we plan to have above 30 plus student-run clubs. CHS will also be hosting its annual Vaquero College and Career Fair on Thursday, September 11th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. We have over 30 colleges, universities, and armed forces and workforce representatives set up on site to visit with students and families. We're also excited to host the third annual Festival of Bands at CHS on Saturday, September 13th from 12 to 3:30 p.m. and it'll include several different schools from the local area to perform for fans and spectators. To conclude, our fall athletic teams are off to a strong start. The football team had its first official home game of the season this past Friday night against Carroll County. We came a little short, but we're looking forward to travel to Abington this coming Friday for the second game of the season. The volleyball team is undefeated to start the season. They had a huge win over Liberty Christian Academy last Thursday and are planning on playing them again tonight. Liberty Christian Academy was a state semifinalist last year. The boys and girls cross-country teams had their first meet of the season this past Thursday at Bassett. The girls cross-country team came home with first-place honors. The golf team is also off to a great start this season with 3 matches under its belt. Lastly, the competition cheer squad had its first competition of the season on Saturday, September 17th. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Avi. Next up, we'll move along to our honors, awards, and recognitions. Dr. Lori Comer, our Director of Secondary Education, will start our recognition of the Spring 2025 VHSL champions.
Good evening, school board members, Chair Hudson and Dr. Widener. It is my honor tonight to present to you the Spring 2025 Virginia High School League State Championship teams. When our school term ended on May 23rd, many of our student athletes still had a few more contests to finish. And as a result, we have some state champions that we would like to recognize tonight. The following principals will come forward and recognize their championships by recognizing their coaches and their team members. We will hear first from Mr. Gwynn, principal at Christiansburg, followed by Mr. Stewart, principal at Blacksburg, and we will end with Mr. Hurd, principal at Auburn High School.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Widener, and our student rep, Mr. Gandhi. Thank you for taking the opportunity to highlight one of our student athletes from Christiansburg High School for their outstanding accomplishment during the spring 2025 season. Unfortunately, the student athlete being recognized has already started her collegiate academic and athletic career at Davidson College in North Carolina. But I would like to still recognize Miss Layla Haley for her accomplishment. During Layla's final season at CHS, she finished her illustrious career by winning the 400-meter dash at the Class 3 Outdoor Track and Field State Championships. She also finished third in both the 100 and 200-meter dashes, which helped her earn the 3A Female Athlete of the Meet. Congratulations to Layla.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Widener. It is my pleasure to recognize our girls outdoor track team and several individuals for state championships. I'd like to welcome Coach Howard and any of our athletes that may be here this evening up to the front. I know some of them had other sports this evening and work, and some have graduated. First, I'd like to recognize our girls outdoor track team. They won the outdoor state championship this past season and completed the rare Triple Crown, winning both cross country, indoor track, and outdoor track. We had several individual state champions. First, Leighton McGee in the pole vault. Leighton is currently vaulting at the College of William & Mary. He set a school record of 16 feet at that meet. Tamoy Douglas, who is a current junior, winning the 200 meters in 24.58 seconds. Riley Thomas, a current sophomore, won the 800 meters in 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Our 4x8 team, which consists of 10th grader Ruthie Delap, 10th grader Lola Olson, senior Tess Dickens, and sophomore Riley Thomas, set a won the competition in 9 minutes and 13 seconds. Our 4x1 team, which consisted of 11th grader Kate Catterson, 11th grader Tamoy Douglas, 11th grader Lily Blue, and 11th grader Tatiana Gibson, set a school record and won in 48.15 seconds. And finally, our 4x4 team, which consisted of graduate Mira Bowman, senior Tess Dickens, 10th grader Riley Thomas, and 11th grader Maribella Garza, won in 3 minutes and 56 seconds, setting a school record as well. Congratulations to those students and athletes. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Widener. Auburn High would like to thank you for the opportunity to recognize our outstanding athletes. Auburn won 4 individual and 2 state championships this past spring, along with our 7th consecutive all-sports championship, which is now referred to as the National Guard Cup. This is the longest streak among 317 schools that participate in the Virginia High School League. If members of the girls track team from last spring, outdoor track team, could come forward. Right there will be good. Among our individual state champions, Allison Funk. Allison won the 3,200 member run by taking the lead in the 3rd lap and extending that lead every lap for the rest of the race. This was her first individual state championship in the outdoor 3,200. Allison was a sophomore. Allison Harris won her first individual state championship but in the discus on the 3rd throw of her competition, outdistancing the next athlete by almost 4 feet. Allison was also just a sophomore. Also, and not with us tonight, Talon Maurer won the pole vault championship in Class 1 for the 2nd consecutive year by clearing 6 more inches in the 2nd place jumper. This was Talon's senior competition. Also, we have, if Kobe Bonds could join us up front too, I'm sorry. Kobe also won an individual state championship on the first throw of the finals for shot put, beating his nearest competition by over 2 feet. Kobe was a junior, so all of these students still attend Auburn High School at this point. So congratulations to our individual state champions. Also, the girls outdoor track and field team, who was coached by Hunter Carter, who is with us tonight, and former head coach Josh Nestor, as well as assistant coach Xavier O'Brien and Zach McClellan. The girls outdoor track and field team was competing this spring to complete a sweep of the track championships for the 24-25 school year. Already champions in cross country and indoor track, they battled both Brunswick and Eastside, prevailing with the familiar pattern of scoring in distance, throws, and the pole vault to edge their competition. So congratulations to our individual champions as well as our girls outdoor track team. Could members of the baseball team come forward, along with the coaching staff? The baseball team ran through their regular season with a 19-1 record and allowed 2 or fewer runs 13 times. After winning the district and region championships, in which they outscored their opponents 50-10, they moved on to the state tournament. After 2 tight 1-run wins, they exploded for a 10-0 win in the state championship to punctuate a 27-1 season. This is Auburn's 4th baseball state championship and the 51st state championship in school history. This team is coached by Mr. Eric Altizer, Keith Reed, Billy Wells, Kyle Altizer, Dale Nelson, and Art Price. So congratulations to our state championship baseball team.
Mr. Hurd, isn't it Coach Altizer's 100th game that we celebrated as well?
Had the 300th win.
300th win, yes, I'm sorry.
Great, thank you, everyone. Next up, Dr. Comer will start our presentation for Seniors of the Month.
Celebrate the remarkable achievements of an outstanding senior from the class of 2026 for each of our high schools. These students embody leadership, character, and dedication, making a lasting impact upon their school community. Their profiles, which will be showcased here and in our central office lobby, they highlight the unique talents and accomplishments. You'll hear the reflections from their teachers and administrators who nominated them and recognizing them for their hard work and their character. These exceptional students represent the best from our schools. Each school administrator will come forward to present in the following order: Mr. David Hurd, principal at Auburn High, and Mr. Chris Stewart, principal at Blacksburg High. The recipients from both Christiansburg and Eastern Montgomery High School could not be with us tonight and will be recognized at the October meeting. We'll begin with Mr. Hurd.
If Ms. Laura Altizer and family could please join me. The September Senior of the Month for Auburn High School is Laura Altizer. Laura has gotten about as much out of high school as any student can. She's been a stellar student, has exhibited excellent character and leadership, and has been a great member of the Auburn High School community. She's a member of too many clubs and received too many honors to list here. It's on the board outside. She's truly a remarkable young lady. According to her AP government teacher, Laura is simply an outstanding student. I've had the pleasure of teaching and coaching Laura for over 3 years, and each year she's grown to be determined, hardworking, remarkable, and amicable young woman. Her great insights better the class, and she's always willing to go above the minimum requirements to excel. During class discussions, she keeps an open mind and is willing to consider multiple views. Her confident personality and quirky humor in the classroom foster a great learning environment for her peers, and she's always kind and easygoing with everyone. Laura's performance on a diverse group of activities, whether it be discussing European philosophy, designing winning projects on the U.S. space race, formulating U.S. AP essays, designing lights for theater shows, or deftly answering academic quiz questions, has been nothing but stellar. With her dedication and enthusiasm to learn, she is well on her way to having an enriching and fulfilling senior year at Auburn High School, and Auburn is better for having her. Laura plans to go to a 4-year college for aerospace engineering with a minor in creative writing and plans to enter the workforce as an engineer. Congratulations, Laura.
It's my privilege to present the Blacksburg High School Senior of the Month. I would like to recognize Ellie Carson as the Blacksburg High School September Senior of the Month. Ellie is here this evening with her father and her mother, Royal and Beth. I'd like to invite them to come up and join me. I'd like to read a brief statement from one of the staff members at Blacksburg High School. Ellie has been a standout member of the Blacksburg High School Corps of Cadets, where she currently serves as First Lieutenant and leader of the Color Guard unit with pride and professionalism. Her leadership skills shine through in everything she does, whether she's guiding her fellow cadets or organizing volunteers for athletic event concession stands. Always eager to help, Ellie steps up without hesitation and encourages others to do the same, making her a respected and admired figure within the school community. Her warm personality and ever-present smile make her approachable and kind, and she never misses a chance to greet others with a cheerful hello. I've had the pleasure of knowing Ellie since she was in 8th grade, and it's been inspiring to watch her grow into a confident and capable leader. Never afraid to take chances, she even tried out and earned a spot on the softball team as a junior. Just another example of her determination and drive. Congratulations, Ellie.
Oh, great, great. And congrats, everyone. And that's all for tonight, right? The other two couldn't make it? Yeah, great. At this point, the board likes to take a quick break and recognize any students, either the athletes or the students of the month, who want to come up and say hi to us. If you want to come up to the front of the room there, we'll come down and say hi. Wow. The mic got that. Replay the video. All right, our next agenda item is public address. We welcome the opportunity to hear from students, parents, employees, and community members about education matters in this community. As a reminder, the board sets aside 30 minutes to start our public address. We have the option to extend in 30-minute increments, which Ms. Osborne will remind us of. If there are additional speakers after 90 minutes, the board will continue with their business meeting and hold one additional 30-minute session at the end of the business meeting. The clock continues through applause and disruptions. The more disruptions there are, the fewer speakers who get to address the board. I will call each speaker up by name in the order that they signed up. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. The board does not respond to speakers during public address. The screens will show when the speaker has 30 seconds remaining and when their time is up. Please state your name and the area of the county you live in. And our first speaker tonight is Kimberly Williamson.
Kimberly Williamson, Christiansburg. Since we're at the beginning of the school year, I'm going to open with a short prayer. This simple and voluntary prayer was once said regularly by students across this nation. Almighty God, we acknowledge our dependence upon Thee, and we beg Thy blessings on our parents, our teachers, and our country. Amen. What I want to say tonight is about the separate review and vote on teacher professional training hours that was discussed at the last meeting. I say this realizing it will be a future agenda item and is not on tonight's agenda. First, there were 2 different laws passed in the last Virginia legislative session that affected the same MCPS policy. The first was on training for teachers who deal with autistic students. The second significantly limited the non-academic training that teachers could be required to take. It was Ms. Franklin's presumption that this was a setup to keep the schools from requiring teachers to take DEI courses. While this law and the required policy change might happily have that effect, that appears to have nothing to do with this law. First, it was sponsored by Delegate Joshua Thomas, a D.C. vicinity Democrat. Second, the law was passed unanimously by both houses. There appeared to be no significant partisan debate about limiting non-academic teacher training. Do you think maybe that common sense prevailed? Making sure teachers focus heavily on academic-related training that actually matters to student success. Finally, is it not your duty to amend school policies to align with Virginia law? Are you not required to vote yes to such legally changed policies? Or are you going to continue to jump off the cliff of lawlessness in school policy just to advance your favorite race-dividing DEI teachings? On a separate late edition topic, please address what is meant by the term social progression in regard to the revamped grading practices for K through 3. Will a student be graded on adherence or non-adherence to your DEI or transgender social ideas or practices, for example? And just why would students' permanent grades be based on anything but academic readiness? Also, please explain how removing the standard alphanumeric grading structure does not send us even further away from academic preparedness for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. And next up is Chris Thomas.
Members of the board, Chris Thomas, Christiansburg. For the last several months now, and here again tonight, we've had the same handful of folks stand up in front of this board and wring their hands about DEI. It is apparently the most grave and profoundly concerning issue facing this board. We, of course, have major construction projects to see to, a perpetual shortage of substitute teachers, a board of supervisors which has likely violated the law in its ham-fisted attempts to coerce this board, and let's not forget the education of some 10,000 students. But some of our most precious and prolific pearl clutchers skipped civics class, and now we have to drag out meetings listening to them whinge about DEI. Okay, fine, so we're doing this. One claim they can't let go of is that this country's policies, or county's policies, are somehow in violation of the law. You heard that again tonight. Usually this claim accompanies some self-important waving around of a Supreme Court decision, which my friends on the right assert backs this claim. It does not. The SCOTUS case in question here is Students for Fair Admissions v. Harvard, which, for those of you who bothered to read the court's opinion, overturns the use of race-based affirmative action programs in college admissions. Now, that's a mouthful, so for the benefit of my friends on the right, I'll break that down into bite-sized pieces. MCPS isn't a college. We don't have an application process, and so we can't have a race-based admission standard that runs afoul of Students v. Harvard. There is not what the court calls a race-based government action here, and so the decision just doesn't apply. Full stop. Since it's clear that I'm the only one here who did the homework, let's actually drill into this case a little bit, though. Writing for the majority, Chief Justice Roberts says that the guarantee of equal protection cannot mean one thing when applied to one individual and something else when applied to a person of color. Now, far be it from me to call a Bush-appointed Republican justice woke, but that does sound like a ringing endorsement of our diversity office's studies in racial differences in student discipline. After all, if black students at MCPS are being punished more harshly than white students for the same infractions, that seems like equal protection means one thing when applied to one individual and something else when applied to a person of color. Indeed, if we take Justices Roberts, Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett all at their word, all the DEI initiatives here at MCPS are not just in alignment with the letter of the law, but with the spirit of their decision as well. Even attendance at the White Privilege Conference, much maligned by my friends on the right, is an attempt to ensure that the de facto outcomes of our de jure race-blind policies don't fall heavier upon minority students. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else signed up, public address is closed. Next up are our consent items. If no one wishes to move an item out of consent, we will consider these items approved. I do want to make a note of a donation from First Bank and Trust for $5,000 for school supplies for MCPS's Pack the Bus initiative. So thank you for that. Okay, great. Next up, moving on to the financial reports. Do I have a motion to acknowledge receipt of the financial summary report for July 2025?
Second.
Ms. Franklin and Dr. Roundtree, any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Gittrey?
Yes.
Ms. Parton? Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the payment of bills as presented?
So moved.
Dr. Roundtree and Ms. Bond, any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond? Yes. Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Gittrey?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. And that takes us into our business meeting. First up is our report from Superintendent. Tonight we have Dr. Amanda Widener, our Interim Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, who will provide our report from the Superintendent's office.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to serve as the representative for the superintendent at tonight's board meeting. We have now completed 2.5 weeks of school, so today marks the beginning of our 4th week. And for anyone who's been in our buildings, I think it's very evident that our students and staff are fully engaged. I've had the opportunity to visit schools and see firsthand the dynamic and engaging learning environments that our teachers are creating. Last week, our elementary and middle school students completed MAP testing, which is an important assessment tool that we use. It allows our teachers to access diagnostic data that will help them guide instruction and meet the needs of our individual students. Beyond the classroom, as our student representative Avi indicated, our students are showcasing their talents in a wide range of activities. This month, we're excited to feature artwork from Auburn Middle School and Margaret Beeks Elementary School at our school board office, and that will be the first of our monthly student art displays. On our fields and in the gym, our fall sports programs are in full swing. Teams from all our secondary schools are well into their competition seasons, and our marching bands are hard at work performing at football games and perfecting their routines. As we move through the busy stretch between Labor Day and fall break, I want to encourage our parents to stay connected with their children's learning. I also want to highlight for families a major benefit that is available to all of our students this year. As a result of funding that was approved in our budget this past spring, we are offering free breakfast to all of our students. And we've already seen a 19% increase in participation compared to this time last year. And with second chance breakfasts that are being implemented in some of our secondary schools, we expect that number to grow even more. So I would encourage all of our students to take advantage of the ability to have a healthy start to their day. Our schools aren't just places for learning and programs, they're also places of celebration and fun. As an example, last Friday, our schools participated in College Colors Days, where students and staff wore the colors of their favorite school. And in partnership with Virginia Tech, the Hookie Bird mascot and members of the cheer team visited some of our schools, which brought a lot of excitement to our students and staff. So looking ahead, we're excited about many upcoming opportunities for our students as we head into the fall season. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Widener. Board, any questions or comments? Okay, great. All right, so we initially had this next piece for our special session coming up on Thursday, but the board felt important to move this up to tonight. Do I have a motion to appoint Dr. Lois Graham as interim superintendent and to approve her contract as presented?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Bond and Ms. Parton. Any discussion? Okay. Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
No.
Dr. Gitchery?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 opposed.
Motion carries. So we now have an interim superintendent. Great. All right, next up, Dr. Tom Brewster, our Assistant Director of Human Resources, presented a proposal to implement annual stipends for staff in the Operations Department who hold state-issued licenses on August 19th. This proposal is brought back tonight for approval. Do I have a motion to approve the skilled trade stipend proposal as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bond and Dr. Roundtree. Any discussion, board?
So I would just like to state again my concerns with this, along with the stipends that we have been giving other employees throughout the years instead of raising their base pay. This is just wrong in my opinion. I mean, it states licensed by the state. Our teachers, our administrators are licensed by the state also. And we do our best to pay them what that respects. And we do not do that for our support staff, and that is just wrong. So I'm going to be voting yes because we need to give it to them, but I'm voting yes with many, many opinions, as you're hearing, that this is wrong. And come budget time, I expect us to do the right thing. And when we're looking at our staffing updates and we're seeing positions that we repeatedly can't fill, can't retain people in, then we need to do something about that. And I've been saying for years, it's about the money. And then every time we turn around, we're adding money, but we're not adding it to their base pay. That's wrong.
We'll go around. Dr. Roundtree?
Yeah, I agree with Ms. Franklin's sentiment. And I think several of us stated last time that when budget time comes around, it'd be nice to have a pay scale that is for these individuals that have licensure, and it's easy to check to make sure that those licensure dates are up to date, and if they fault on that licensure, then they drop to the pay scale that's appropriate for their position.
Ms. Rousseau?
I don't have any further questions or comments, but I agree with the shared sentiment. I'm glad that we can roll this out now and give a stipend to folks who have earned it, and then maybe look at adjusting the pay scale. So thank you.
Ms. Bond?
Agree, and just hoping this is just a place to start. Thanks.
Ms. Barton?
So I agree with what everyone else has said, and I do plan on being very, wanting to check into this during budget season because this is an issue we have done for a long time. But I'm glad to see us taking a proactive approach right now to get this out there and hopefully get them here and then keep them here once budget season comes around. So thank you for all your work on this. I appreciate it.
Dr. Guidry?
Thank you. I was kind of hoping when I got the revisions back for this proposal that I think I had asked, maybe I was the only one, for information on which one, for which of these categories is the licensure or certain requirements required for the job versus ones where they're going above and beyond. So it's kind of, did you do any of that analysis?
Are not required as part of the job. It's an incentive for them to get trained in these areas, to get certification and licensure in these areas.
Okay, so just for the sake of moving things forward, I absolutely agree that when we are looking at the budget for next year, that I would expect that this gets rolled over into base salary increases for these employees, so that we're honoring them for their skills and the training that they bring to the jobs.
Certainly.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will start working on that proposal tomorrow.
And Dr. Brewster, my only question was, obviously we had a very spirited conversation at the last meeting. Did anything in here change substantially based on that conversation, or?
We did change a couple of things. First of all, the board encouraged us to add the contractor license for Class A, and we added that to the list. And we also added a Class A CDL license. It is a non-required license. However, we have 2 employees who help us tow our buses and who would qualify for that supplement.
Okay, great. Board, any other questions? Okay, great. Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guidry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Thank you.
Motion carries. All right, next up, the administration recommends an adjustment to the 2025-26 school calendar. On Friday, October 24th, Virginia Tech is scheduled to host a home football game. The significant increase in traffic anticipated from this event will make a regular dismissal time a challenge for our schools. The administration proposes changing Friday, October 24th, 2025 to an early release day. Do I have a motion to approve the school calendar change as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Purcell and Dr. Roundtree. Any discussion? Okay. Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond? Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guidry?
Abstain.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 abstain.
Motion carries. All right, next up, the administration would like to present policy 1-1.6 for approval with changes as recommended by the board on August 19th, 2025. As a reminder, this was the change that we had noted for adding the 11 o'clock vote for our consideration of ending the meeting. That seemed like the board was in favor of that. So we have that policy here tonight. Do I have a motion to approve policy 1-1.6 with changes as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Guidry and Ms. Bond, any discussion?
So I want to be clear. So is this saying that at 11 o'clock, we will vote whether to continue the meeting until 11:30? And then we can then vote to go beyond 11:30?
Yes.
So it's basically saying the same thing, except we just moved it to 11 instead of 11:30,
Okay,
whether we
But
want to
we-
move the meeting.
now that's not what I thought. I thought that it moved from the 11:30 to 11, and then we vote, instead of at 11:30, we vote at 11 to decide whether we're going to continue the meeting.
Well, so this gives us an option to end earlier, but we have to have the vote at 11:30, right? If we vote yes to continue meeting, we still have to vote at 11:30, right? Like
I
we're
see what you're
required
saying.
to.
Okay.
So we can't not have that vote.
Though we just had to vote before 11:30 or by 11:30. That was the whole point of. And we have to have a 2/3 vote in order to continue past 11:30?
Yep.
That was the understanding that we had. That doesn't mean that we can't change that. I mean, if the board wants to make the 11:30 vote at 11, then we can do that. But if we vote to continue, then we're continuing past 11:30. There's no other gate, right?
I think when, I was going to say, Dr. Gitry, I think that was what you had proposed. I don't think you were thinking that you would vote 11 and 11:30. I think you were thinking that the 11, or to my understanding, it was the 11:30 time piece would be moved up to 11, to where the decision to continue the meeting was at 11, no longer 11:30, just 11. That we would have to vote if it went past 11. Was
Yeah,
that
we
right?
didn't parse that particular question because I think that I didn't have the code in front of me to see if it's required that we have the vote at 11:30, because one of the comments that was made was, we have to at 11:30, but there's nothing that prevents us from doing it earlier. So I just very quickly was trying to find out if we're required by state law. If it says 11:30, Dr. Roundtree, did you look at the law to see if it requires, it just says before 11:30 to extend beyond? Because I think it's about extending past 11:30. It's only our own policy, the 11:30?
It's state policy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have that language up in front of me. I can look very quickly to see what that is. So I thought that we would still have to have that second vote at 11:30 based on that legal requirement, but I have to check really quickly to see what that requirement is. I don't know if anybody knows what that is.
Okay, so, so I'm guessing it would depend on what the vote is, because if the vote were 2/3 that you adjourned at 11, then you wouldn't have the 11:30, but I guess if it failed, then you would have to have the 11:30, okay.
Right. One concern that I kind of had with the way that the policy was currently written was that if we voted at 11:30 to end the meeting, but let's say we were still in discussion about, say, the personnel report, for instance, which oftentimes is the end, is one of our last things. The way the policy is written, we couldn't vote on that because we've got to end the meeting, right? We can continue discussion, but at that point, we're done, right? Like, there's no additional voting. And so then we're pushing the personnel report and maybe student matters, whatever it is that we're doing, right? And so this gives us that buffer, I think, to say, hey, we're getting close. We've got to wrap up by 11:30, but now we can kind of wrap ourselves up a little bit more cleaner. But
I thought our policy, a meeting shall not in the midst of a discussion or an agenda
in the midst of a
item.
discussion, sure, right, but the vote is a separate menu.
But if you can't
separate
adjourn,
item.
then you can still vote.
So
Correct.
a motion can be made that the meeting would end after this discussion, after this
Right.
vote. Right. So
Sure,
it
sure.
still could end sooner than what it would take if we completed, say, 3 more things that were on the agenda.
Right.
We just specify what actions we're going to take, and then the meeting will end.
That's right.
Right. protection piece that,
Right.
so you could get the vote in, I guess.
So clearly there was slightly different interpretations of what we discussed last week, but like there's a vote here, we can either vote as is and see where it goes. We can consider friendly amendments, like whatever the will of the board is.
Well, and with all due respect, I think for myself as a board member, any of the 11 o'clock adjournment would completely be understand if there is a needed discussion on the table. I don't think any of us would want to adjourn during that time, or in extenuating circumstances, because I know that came up. Well, that's one of the reasons I can't support this, but sometimes we have things that, and maybe that was something that as a board chair and vice chair, we can say, okay, let's put those important discussion items in the beginning of the meeting. So that way, if we're just going through different items, then it's not a big issue if we adjourn at 11 or 11:30.
Got it. Okay, so any other discussion? Any?
Can I ask a question? Yeah. The administration, when you wrote these changes, did you consult the Code of Virginia or Administrative Code on that 11:30 issue? Do you know? Okay. Because I can't very quickly find any reference to 11:30, so I don't know. Ms. Franklin, you said that it's written into the code, that 11:30 vote. Do you know any more information? Okay.
I think it's probably best to check with legal counsel and see if there is a code that says something about it. I'm not able to find it either.
Yeah, I can't find it.
This is something we put into place because our meetings were going over, not this board, but a previous board just kind of said to vote at 11:30?
Past 11:30.
Right.
Can I ask a question? If we find out that it's not a requirement, that 11:30 vote, would you propose that we only have the vote at 11 or? Okay. I don't know if anybody else has any opinions. I'm fine just having the one vote, but if it's the will of the board to do the two votes, I'm fine with that as well.
Okay, we'll have a motion and a second on the table, so we can either play the vote out and see where we are. We can always amend it again later if we decide we discover that it's not a state requirement, or we can vote it down and see where we go. Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
No.
Dr. Gitchery?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
No.
Dr. Roundtree?
No.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
4 in favor, 3 opposed.
Motion carries. Policies can always be changed later if we choose we want to, right?
So where we have meetings that folks are complaining go on and on, then we just keep discussing the same thing over and over again, on and on.
All right, next up, Glenn Shellcode, our Administrator of Fine Arts, will present the proposed General Music Textbook Adoption Committee. Information about the textbook adoption process and the timeline are included.
Dr. Widener and members of the board. Tonight I am presenting the first reading of the proposed MCPS General Music Textbook Adoption Committee. I will share an overview of the committee's composition, outline the adoption process, and provide a timeline for your reference. The proposed adoption committee includes 14 general music teachers, one from each school that offers general music, which is every elementary school and middle school, pre-K through 8. On the proposed committee, we also have 6 parents representing all 4 of our communities, one from Auburn, 2 from Blacksburg, 2 from Christiansburg, and 1 from the Eastern Montgomery community. 1 administrator, and lastly 2 community members, and I'd like to add that both of those community members are music education professors from Virginia Tech. This broad representation ensures that the adoption process reflects the voice of teachers, families, administrators, and the larger community. At the start of the school year, so very recently, general music teachers completed a survey to identify textbooks they were most interested in exploring. Pending the committee's approval, the next steps will be to review those survey results and narrow the list to a set of finalists. After we have the finalists, we'll then publish all of that information through various means of communication throughout the division, and then we'll review all of the community feedback, and we'll be able to bring you a recommendation later. Of the options under consideration, all but 1 are available exclusively online. To ensure transparency, I have provided the board and the public with access to the information to the textbook series that were included in the initial survey. So right now, anyone in the public could see all of the items that were on the survey and begin exploring them, even though they're not finalists, because we obviously have to approve the committee before we make it to that step. This evening's presentation is simply the first reading of the proposed adoption committee and process. The committee's work will continue this fall, and we will return to you with recommendations once the process is complete. At this time, I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Chilcote. Board, any questions?
If I remember correctly, has it been quite some time since there was a new textbook for music education?
I looked to get the exact answer. I looked that up today. The process began in 2014, and our last adoption was in 2015. And I do need to add that we have never had a formal adoption in the general music curriculum, partly because the VDOE does not require it, but since our school board policy requires that we have a formal adoption for any textbook that's put in front of our students, we're following that policy. But it is not required by the VDOE, and there is absolutely no textbook list or recommended list that we have to choose from.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good.
Thank you so much. I noticed that on the committee that for Joey Ballard's representing 3, is that just by virtue? Can you tell me a little bit?
He teaches at all 3 of those schools.
Okay,
Yes, he
I assumed
teaches
that was
general
the case.
music at all 3: Shawsville Middle, Auburn Middle, and Christiansburg Middle.
Busy man. I was just curious of how did you get the parent solicit the parents' involvement in the committee? I'm curious about the composition of the committee.
Yeah, so word of mouth worked great via the school newsletters. So I asked all of the principals to send in their initial communications home to families this opportunity to be a part of this committee, and we had an overwhelming response. Of course, families in the Blacksburg community had a much higher percentage, so we have a lot of people that are on the wait list in the Blacksburg area, but we were able, through the principals' communications, to have members in every community.
Okay, great. And none of those parents are any of them also MCPS employees? Do you know?
To my knowledge, none of them are MCPS employees.
I'm just asking because I've heard that. And, great. I'm glad to see you going through the process. I'm looking forward to the outcome. Thank you.
Board, any other questions? Great, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
All right, next up, Dr. Amanda Widener, our interim assistant superintendent. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted, if there's a part of our policy, if that there is a textbook adoption policy committee rather that we are supposed to approve. So I know that there's not a textbook that's adopted by VDOE, but if we have a textbook, if we create the committee that we have to approve it, that's what we've done in the past is when we've had these presentations, there's been a vote on whether we approve of the committee. That's part of the reason for the presentation, if I'm remembering correctly.
I do think that's practice, yeah.
So in order for things to move forward, you need the committee to be put in place.
It would be nice if it could be approved this evening, but that's not necessary. We could wait till the next meeting in September to approve it. That would still give us enough time. If you could approve it tonight, that would be great. We'd be able to move forward. Our first committee meeting is scheduled for September 17th. And because we have every music teacher that teaches general music on this committee, it's going to move much faster than other adoptions or previous adoptions. Because if you think about soliciting teacher feedback, when it's ELA or math, you have quite a lot of teachers that have to provide feedback, and that takes time. For us, it's 14. So we can get that feedback much faster.
So I move that we approve the committee.
Second?
Okay.
And I will say, I appreciate you bringing this to us in such a timely manner.
Guess we have a motion by Dr. Guitry and a second by Ms. Purcell. Ms. Osborne, do you have that motion?
To approve the General Music Textbook Adoption Committee.
Committee, okay, great. Board, any other discussion? All right, great. Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Guitry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton? Yes. Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. All right, next up, Dr. Amanda Widener, our interim assistant superintendent, will present a proposed policy change for policy 6-2.2, evaluation and reporting. The proposed change will be to the elementary grading policy to reflect standards-based grading in grades K through 3. Ann Mitchell, our director of elementary education, is also available for questions.
The proposed changes before you and the student evaluation and grading policy is an effort to update our policy so that it aligns with our current practices. So the changes that you see are for elementary grading. As I think you all are aware of, we currently use standards-based grading system for report cards in grades K through 3. We extended that last year for K through 3. However, in reviewing our policy, that's not what is reflected. And so this is an effort to bring our policy up to speed with our current practices. It does leave grades 4 and 5 as they are, continuing to use a letter-based grading system, which is still in policy. But again, what is written in red, as you will see, the changes are merely done to reflect our current practices so that our policy aligns with that.
Great, thank you. Board, questions and comments?
So thank you so much. I think I had brought this out in the spring that there was a misalignment. I remember when the first spring I was on the board that we had a presentation for Mr. Sizemore about this. So I want to bring our practice in alignment with our policy or vice versa. But before we make this permanent, as a board member, I'm curious to get more information about the impact of this change and kind of, because I know that we got a presentation from the administration saying it's going great, everybody loves it, it's a success, but I would like to hear more, I would like to get more input. So, because I know that there is discussions about expanding it to there, at least there were discussions, maybe that has completely been shelved. Okay. So I think it makes a whole lot of sense to get broader input, both from teachers, counselors, community members about this grading system before we make it permanent. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
We can get some more feedback from third grade if you would like for us to do that. We did get feedback from 4th and 5th grade, and based on the input that we received from them, they were not ready to move forward. They wanted to stay with our traditional grading practices, especially with our 4th and 5th grade students going to middle school. So we pushed that out. We got great feedback. So based on that feedback, no, we're not moving forward fourth and fifth grade. So if you would like us to go back and get additional feedback from grade 3, if that's what I'm hearing that you're saying, we can definitely do that. Is that
I
what
mean,
you're
that's what I would like to get input, a survey, both, parents, teachers, administrators, if there are counselors, anybody who this might impact, and just a survey, just some feedback to know whether there's widespread support for it. I mean, I know it's a practice.
Yes.
We got the presentation, but there's not been anything presented to the board from the wider public and from our wider community.
Okay.
That's just my suggestion.
Board, as we go around, maybe each of you weigh in on if you'd like that extra information as well, just so we can give a consensus guidance. Ms. Franklin?
I'm good with what you're suggesting. And I'd also like to point out that the only change to grading system to show academic and social progression is the same language that was used before. It's nothing new that we're trying to slip in DEI or anything else.
Yes, it's not DEI. I can pull up some of those and read those to you. It's more like if students can work independently, if they problem solve appropriately at their age. So it's more work habits. So if we need to change that language to social, but it's not that.
I'm just wanting to point out, this is the language that has been there.
Yes.
It's not, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You're correct.
Dr. Roundtree?
Cards for the younger grades that are available online, but that might be something of interest too, especially for parents of new students, kindergartners, first graders, just to know what the grading system looks like before they get that first report card. And they know what kinds of things that their student is working on ahead of time. The report cards are great as someone who has recently had a K through 3 student. I love the amount of feedback, whether or not they're working well with other students, those kinds of activities, whether or not they're supposed to be counting 1 to 10, 1 to 50. It gives the metrics very clearly as to what you should expect.
And we do
your student to
provide
be
a
working on.
handout to our families for report cards that does explain that to them. So if it's something else that we need to do in addition to that, we're open to do that as well.
Right. I would to Dr. Guitri's point, I would also like some information on what the teachers are thinking about this. Also, what common practices are around the country, what the incentive or the advantage of going after one grading metric versus another grading metric is, and including extending that to fourth and fifth, not just the question of whether or not we should be doing it in third. The previous presentation we had gave arguments that we would probably be extending it to fourth and fifth later in the time period, but it'd be interesting to have those that information again.
Yeah, we pushed it out, but like I said, the feedback was not, teachers were not ready for it at that time. But if you would like to know some of that feedback, we can kind of make you a bullet list of kind of some of the comments that they said.
Right. That sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Purcell?
I'm absolutely in agreement for a little more information. And how long has it been since third grade adopted this grading policy?
Last year. This past school year.
Okay, so
It's very
one
new to them.
year. Okay,
It's very new
great.
to
So
them.
it might seem like a good time to get some of that information.
do
Thank you
that.
so much.
Yes.
Ms. Baum?
Okay, so just so I'm understanding, you've already surveyed the fourth and fifth grade, and they've already shared with you what they thought about this, correct?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
why would we want more information from the fourth and fifth grade
Think-
level?
I know that one of the questions was more information for third
For
grade.
third,
is what
right, but I heard some of the other board members maybe mention that to go ahead but if we've already done that, I mean, I think that's one of the things our teachers get upset with is so much asking and surveying, and so I think we need to be cautious of that. I understand with the third grade if we want to ask them what their thoughts are, but I'm not in approval of asking again about fourth and fifth grade. I feel like they know what's right for them, and we need we need to listen to that.
Okay.
Ms. Barton?
Okay, so I was kind of under the same impression that Ms. Bond was. I was just making sure that I heard correctly that they have been surveyed.
Yes, ma'am.
So we know their opinions and
I
their
did.
thoughts on it. I can see reaching out to the third, just for some added perspective, just to see how they think the flow might be as well.
Okay.
But if we've already surveyed them, I don't know what more than a survey we could do to get maybe more information. I'm not sure. I think the survey was pretty cut and dry. I mean, I guess for or against, why or not, and you all took that information into consideration?
We did.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah, can I just add one thing? I agree. I mean, if you did do a survey with the fourth and fifth graders, and you can just share that information, I think that's maybe what was being asked here. But I think, just to follow up, one of the things I'm curious about is part of the reason, say, the fourth grade teachers are opposed to it because that they have questions based on their experience of the third graders moving up? Because I think that, wasn't this implemented before last year? Because I remember, I thought it was, not this past spring, but the spring before, because in the spring is when I raised questions about the non-compliance with the policy, and that's because that was because the presentation was the year before. So I do think it makes sense to either share that information from the fourth and fifth graders to see what the fourth grade teachers have to say about it. If that doesn't illuminate the experience of these fourth grade teachers who I think at this point will have experience with that grade moving up. So I agree that we don't need to do both grades, but I think they might be part of the mix because they are seeing students before them who have come up under the system now. Does that make sense?
Kind of, sort of. You kind of lost me at the end, but.
So
I'm happy to clarify later. It's just because one of the things that I heard about the fourth and fifth graders was a concern about the progression. And so the people in the mix would be not only the third grade teachers, but then if those students have moved up as a grade, that means the fourth grade teachers are now seeing students for whom they have this grading system as part of their record. So it would make sense to include the fourth grade teachers if that is the case.
I don't think that was the case.
Just for the past 3 weeks, would they have had students that had the new metric in the fourth grade?
Yeah, for some reason I thought when we had that presentation, it was not this past spring, but the spring before.
It started this past fall. We didn't change grading policy in the middle of a school academic year.
Okay, thank you.
So I think I'm hearing we like more information from third grade, and we like to just see the information that was already collected from fourth and fifth.
Summary of what fourth and fifth grade said?
Yeah, but no, we don't need to go back out to fourth and fifth.
Okay.
Go.
Thank you.
Hey, board, anything else?
Okay, nice to meet you too. Thank you all.
All right, next up, Megan Atkinson, our Administrator of CTE and Business Partnerships, will present information on the GoTech Grant Award and the role of MCPS. Dr. Matt Dunleavy, our Director of Grants, Innovation, and Partnerships, is also available for questions.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Widener. I am really excited tonight to share about the GoTech program and the grant that we have received to put this into practice this year. And also kind of go over the role of MCPS and some of the innovative practices that we're trying to implement as a regional entity for grants and awards. So I wanted to share the GoTech mission statement really quickly. So GoTech stands for Great Opportunities in Technology and Engineering Careers. And the purpose of the program is to stimulate job growth within the Commonwealth by creating dependable talent pipelines in strategic sectors, fostered through public and private partnerships. And that's a mouthful. But what that looks like in public education is the career pathways that align with advanced manufacturing and advanced materials and information technology and healthcare are being explained to our middle school students. And I don't know if you've ever had the chance to try and explain advanced manufacturing to middle school students. It's not an easy task. But the GoTech program presents it in a relevant and a developmentally appropriate way, and it makes it fun. So the activities that our students are participating in those career and technical education classes are pointed directly towards those career pathway options for our students. And we have strong programs at the high school that align with all of these modules. The piece that we were missing is explaining it to middle school students. So the GoTech program is going to help us do that. And the explanation on the next slide really does fill in that blank. So the GoTech grant would allow us to establish a career connections lab in our school to explain what career options are here in the New River Valley and across the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I wanted to share the map of the GoTech program because this is something that is established across parts of the Commonwealth already. And the really beautiful part of this program is that it's a true partnership between K-12 education and industry. So the program initiated in the Danville area with the school divisions there and the IALR, and it has expanded across the state. If you'll notice on the map, Region 2 is Go Virginia Region 2, so that's an economic development region, and you'll see the coloring or the shading is not great to differentiate, but you'll see that the lighter green counties are the counties that would be involved in the GoTech grant award. And then I've just got a brief timeline of what's happened so far and where we hope to go. So in February, Montgomery County Public Schools was among a consortium of counties that was considering becoming a part of the GoTech grant program and implementing the GoTech lab in middle schools. In March of 2025, MCPS, along with the help of my colleague, Dr. Dunleavy, agreed to accept the responsibility of serving as the lead applicant for the grant. So the grant is awarded to 5 different school divisions, but Montgomery County Public Schools drafted the grant and submitted it for consideration, and also has offered to serve as the fiscal agent for the GoTech launch grant. In April, the application went to the Go Virginia Region 2 board for consideration, and it was approved as the largest grant that the Go Virginia Region 2 board had approved ever. So we were excited about that. And then in June, the state Go Virginia board took that recommendation and the grant application, and they approved the recommendation. So the grant will provide $150,000 for each school that a GoTech lab would be implemented in to upfit a classroom space. So it will turn technology education classrooms into those GoTech Career Connections labs. In July of 2025, teachers that were identified as wanting to implement GoTech in their classroom participated in a teacher training. We used a unique setting for the training. GoTech has a bus for outreach, and our wonderful post-secondary partners at New River Community College agreed to host the GoTech bus. So if you were driving around the mall site at New River, you might have seen a big gray and neon green bus sitting in the parking lot. That was teacher training, and the GoTech staff from Danville came up to provide that training in that space. In August, we would like to implement the GoTech program to be piloted at Christiansburg Middle School for this year, with the goal of expanding to the other middle schools. And I wanted to note that by serving as the fiscal agent for this grant, we are building capacity to serve as an innovator and a leader in education and industry partnerships, specifically in workforce development, which I see as a synonym to career and technical education. And then finally, our next steps will be with the finance department. They will be submitting a supplemental appropriation request to request the funds for your consideration at the next board meeting. So that's the information that I have for you. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
Great, thank you so much. School board, who has questions?
Yes, thank you. So I just wanted to get a point of clarification. The $150,000 you said was per school that's participating in the program?
Correct.
And how many schools do we have in Montgomery County participating?
We have one school that's participating this year as a pilot. To access the grant funding, we had to have multiple municipalities participate. So there are 5 school divisions and 6 total labs that are being initiated for this GoTech launch, this pilot.
And are there additional labs expected next year and the following year through this grant?
It would be another grant that we would apply for.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Franklin?
Okay, so it's not 150,000 for each school, it's for each school district.
It's $150,000 for each school.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what it will cost to upfit and to buy the technology. So,
Yeah, and I totally understand how $150,000 is just a drop in the bucket to do this, and this is absolutely wonderful. Because again, trying to help our students understand what opportunities are out there for them and the courses they need to take and how they need to make sure they show up for work, whether it be on time or just be ready to work, and understand the fundamentals of being a good employee is huge because our people do not understand that, okay? They don't. It can be horrible out there trying to get people to understand you need to come to work, you need to be ready to work, you need to stay at work, and yeah, you can't just sit down and do nothing. That might sound kind of, well, but if you're out there in the workforce today, especially in industries like manufacturing and things like that, it's a struggle. So I am so excited. Can't wait to come visit to see what's going on at Christiansburg Middle School with this. And thank you all so much for being willing to take this on and help move Montgomery County forward and give so many more opportunities for our students. Thank you.
one more point of information. I told Dr. Comer that I was going to point this out. If you'll notice, I shared some pictures of MCPS adults interacting with the GoTech equipment. And the 2 pictures on the left, Dr. Comer, and then below her, Mr. Deibler, our staff here at the board office got to use the welding simulators to see what their skills were in welding. And as of today, Dr. Comer is the reigning MCPS champion welder according to the welding simulation.
Keep going around. Well, Dr. Guitry?
First off, congratulations to you and to the our grants officer. I think he's somewhere here.
Hiding back there.
On securing that grant. Just to drill down a little bit, so the $150,000 for one lab. So I see here in the description that there was some training that was involved, but can you tell us a little bit more about what is the lab?
Sure.
Who's going to participate in the lab? You don't have to elaborate too much, but just I'd love to know a little bit more about either the technology or
Yeah, so the lab itself is based around 9 modules that are listed here with the different career pathways. So for precision machining, our middle school students will have a CNC router. So they will actually get to see the milling process and understand what it's like to have subtractive manufacturing from metal. And they'll be able to create different things. The welding lab, it is a simulation. I love that because the idea of putting open flame in the hands of middle school students is terrifying to me. So I'm happy that we have the technology to have those welding simulators. And Miller, which is one of the big names in welding equipment, actually has a full-sized welding simulation that goes into the lab. We will be using robotics, the VEX robots that you see in some of the first competitions. But in addition to that, there's a robotic arm. So it goes from the initial using the robots, which a lot of students have done already, into going through the assembly line process. So taking the coding and the IT from the robotics lessons that they've done and then building on that. One of the coolest moments in the outreach work that we've done so far was our Manufacturing Leaders Summit that Onward NRV hosts. And they got to see the GoTech bus, and the manufacturing engineer from Spectrum Brands, which is one of our big manufacturers in Montgomery County, pointed to equipment on their line and said, this is exactly what we were playing with on the bus. So our students are going to be working with the processes that our industry are currently using.
Great. I have more questions, but I'm sure at some point we're getting another presentation after you've established the lab, and I'm really excited for you.
Thank you.
Ms. Barton.
I saw the bus and I was like, wow, what is that? And then I saw this and was like, that's what that was. So the lab is on the bus that people have already been able to get on and seen some of the simulation there. Am I hearing you correctly?
So that lab is the outreach and public relations of GoTech because it can go anywhere.
Okay.
The lab that we will be purchasing with the grant funds will be in Christiansburg Middle School and then in our other middle schools.
And
as
so
we
the great
expand.
thing about this is the hands-on at that age, because that's how you get them interested to begin with. It's not this, it's the do. So when they get into something that they see that they really enjoy and love, they're going to develop a love for that. So I'm so excited about that for our middle school students. Do we know how this is going to be incorporated into the school day as far as how they're going to be able to take advantage of this and when they're going to be able to do these cool things?
Sure. So you saw with the map of the state.
Right.
This has been implemented in other school divisions, and it has been implemented through several technology education courses. So Intro to Technology, which we happen to offer, and Inventions and Innovations, which we also happen to offer. So we're not changing the schedule. Again, it's a true upfit for our teachers. So they're taking what they are currently doing and making it more fun, more hands-on, more relevant to the careers that we have in our county.
Great. And so the ones that we don't have, is that something at some point we're hoping to get incorporated maybe? Or maybe will that flow up into our high school level to maybe get some of those freshmen and sophomore, or maybe even juniors and seniors at this point, because, we still have juniors and seniors sometimes that still just don't know exactly what they're going to want to do. So I'm not sure if we were going to be able to have a flow from that. I know that costs money, and I'm very grateful for the grants. Thank you very much for finding it. But I would love to see, hopefully we can get this in, I would like to say all of our middle schools, but at some point, at least for the majority of our county, of our kids could do it in middle school. But it's just nice to see that they're going to have that opportunity to really kind of understand more about what it is and decide, yeah, that's something I think I might want to look into when I get up to the high school level too, or they realize that that's not for them and they may try something else. So
one of the pieces of feedback that we got on the grant application was the application was so strong because every school division had direct pathways from this career connections lab to the high school. So all of the modules fit already
That's
with
so
what we're
good to hear.
offering.
I'm so glad to hear that. And I love seeing it through the state because I'm so happy what's happening in Montgomery County, but I'm also very proud of my state as well. So to see that it's expanded throughout the state and over even on the Eastern Shore, that they were able to have the trial there and get the grant and the money funded for it, that's just awesome. So thank you so much for the presentation. It's great news.
Ms. Vaughn.
Go Tech, sounds great. So I do have one question though. Will they be, I mean, I'm sure something like to this measure are keeping data, because that is one of my concerns with it being in middle school opposed to high school. I think it's great to initiate those thoughts in that era, but I don't know that they really take it with the seriousness of middle school as that's what I want to do. I think it's more of a learning and it's fun and I enjoy doing it. So I would like to see if this is seen, okay, is it really beneficial to do it at the younger age opposed to early high school? I just feel like, I've been on career and tech boards. I've followed it, and I think I've gotten a lot of feedback that, yeah, sometimes we're kind of connected at too young of an age on things like this because they're really not thinking. Sixth graders aren't going, this is what I want to do the rest of my, some are, but as a general rule, it's like, I'm going to take that because it's fun. So do you think they'll have some kind of a pathway to find not only that it follows through, but to see, yeah, this has not been as beneficial. We don't see kids taking these courses and learning these modules and then following it through.
So my hope is to really lean into the middle school model, which is looking at exploration. I say all the time, kids don't know what they don't know. Yeah. And so the point of this experience is to show them that, the robot that they have been using in their class has genuine career pathways that, some of them exist and some of them haven't even been created yet. That's the tricky part of career and technical education. We're preparing kids for jobs that don't exist. So I think leaning into that exploratory model is so important to make sure that our kids have exposure to the career pathways that are out there. I also think that we will be able to follow those students through and see, do our numbers in precision machining increase enrollment-wise? Because we're one of the only school divisions in this area and in all of the counties that are receiving the GoTech grant that has a true precision machining program at the high school level. Most students, if they find an interest, are going to have to wait until they get to New River. But we really do have these strong pathways. And again, it's going to help our students know that they might have an interest rather than waiting until they get into their junior or senior year, getting into the classes and then realizing that they don't like that career pathway.
Is there as far as the classes being taken, or is it more geared toward 8th grade, or is it?
It will be 6th through 8th grade.
Okay.
So students at all grade levels will have a chance, and the first year it will be, the first level of GoTech, but after the first year, it will be leveled by grade level. So students will be able to move up and have a different experience in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade if they choose to.
Right. And anything we can get, I think is fabulous. So I'm just kind of using just some kind of, I hope that we can kind of learn more and find out, because these things are fantastic. But if they're not utilized correctly, then it's not so fabulous. So anything is better than nothing. And so I don't want to sound, as a negative Nancy, kind of, you know what I'm saying?
No, not at all.
But I just, like I said, I've kind of seen things. Sometimes we jump on it at too early of an age, and then it kind of fizzles out. So I'm hoping, because this is fantastic, and I want to see us really utilize it to the most that we can. So
yeah,
thank you.
The bright, shiny toys are fun, and they're exciting. But the point of the GoTech Lab is it's a career connections lab. So the fun activities are all pointed towards that career exploration. So that's the point and the value of the GoTech program.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Ms. Purcell.
Thank you so much for the presentation and for all the hard work that's gone into creating this opportunity for our kids. I don't think I have anything pressing to ask, just that I'm excited for the potential expansion to all the middle schools. Thanks.
I'll just add, I had to Google what a metrology was. I was reading that wrong. So I learned something new tonight about the science of measurement. So very cool. But no, I mean, I can't love this anymore. This is very cool. We need more engineers and technologists, and I do think getting them started early can help lead to those pathways. So thank you to your leadership, Dr. Dunleavy, your leadership on the grant. I'm excited to see what comes next.
Thank you.
Any other questions, board?
So, the job that I did for 37 years is rapidly changing, and someday these robots and other forms of technology will be doing those jobs, but they will also need the folks who are able to build those, maintain those, and look for new innovative ways to do things, because it's changing rapidly. So if there are opportunities where there are locations, facilities that are already using some of this technology, it would be wonderful if our students would have the opportunity to do the tours and be able to see what you're learning here is actually being used here. This is a way you can earn a living. And if you like it, that's even better.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, board, that brings us to unfinished business. Are there any items of unfinished business tonight?
I have one thing.
Yeah.
So we got an email from our now former superintendent about the GPA committee, and I thought that in that email, he said that we'd have a presentation at this meeting. Is there an update on that? And the reason why I'm pressing for this is that I have had more communication about it. I know that students right now are working on their college applications, and that, when did you say early decision applications are due? November 1st. And so that's one of the reasons why I was trying to move forward as expeditiously but also responsibly on the issue. Is there any update on that, when we might have something before the board to discuss?
So Dr. Comer, our Director of Secondary Education, is going to be working with a committee to look at that issue, to gather research, I think to understand the history and the reasoning behind the existing policy, and then to bring information and I assume a recommendation to the board.
Okay.
So I believe perhaps at our next meeting, she'll kind of give you an update on that process and a timeline.
Great.
But I think there will be some time in doing the research, again, to understand and get input from a variety of stakeholders to bring a recommendation before the board.
Okay, great. I know that there's I didn't assume that we would have a change at this point, but just want to see where we are and to follow up on that. So I'm looking forward to that presentation.
Okay, great. Anything else, board, for unfinished business? Okay, great. Any items of new business? Yeah.
So, for many years, when I used to work every day, I had the ability to have payroll deductions for Christmas Club, for Vacation Club, and for other opportunities where if I didn't see that money, I wasn't spending it and I was saving it. And it was a huge, huge benefit to myself and other employees. So I was wondering if there is a possibility that we can offer those types of payroll deductions for our employees. I mean, just like going to the biweekly pay. Remember when Ms. Bond brought that to the board as being a huge stumbling point for us to be able to maintain folks, because sometimes it was almost 2 months before they could get paid. I think this would be also a opportunity for our employees. So I was wondering if we would like to look into that.
Board, can we get a show of hands of folks who are interested in getting more information about that?
I'm all for getting more information about it, but I do my Christmas savings through my bank, and I know they have to give another check for that. So could we also get the information on what it would cost us to do another check if needed? Or could that be included on, do you see what I'm saying?
So the way it worked for us is it was through the credit union, okay? But it could be through any financial place that offered those things, and it would just be a deduction. It would probably be from whoever we bank with. Employees would be able to do an automatic deduction from their paycheck every 2 weeks to go to these designated funds, and then it would, with mine, in September, it would roll over to my savings account. So there was nothing that the school system had to do as far as cutting extra checks or anything. It was already rolled over into your account so that you would have access to it that way, and then it would just start over again automatically.
Right, and mine starts over like that, but they cut, like Atlantic Union cuts me a separate check. Like it can't roll over into another account, so that's why I was asking.
Well, that would be on them, however they want to do it. But what I would like to explore is the opportunity for our employees to be able to do that, to have access to payroll deductions for separate savings accounts. With me, it was vacation and Christmas club. Yeah.
Board, show of hands if we want to get more information about that. It's not a commitment, it's just more information. Okay. Great. Any other items of new business? Okay, great. Are there any announcements?
I've got a few. I'm going to try to be quick because the school's been going on, but I'd love to share some things that are happening at some of my district schools that I would like to brag on a little bit. So first off, Ms. Bond and I attended the Christiansburg High School home football game Friday night. It was great, crowded, a lot of school spirit. Unfortunately, the Blue Demons came up, the underdog, but that's okay. We were still cheering them on to the end. Anyway, it was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of fun getting to talk to teachers, talk to students, seeing parents. So we just had a great time there, socializing and talking to the community. I did also want to say that Eastern Montgomery High School had their first away football game Friday night that I was able to go back and catch on the network because we have the little thing where we can see where they play, and you can either record it or watch it live. So they played the Castlewood Blue Devils, and they won their first away game. It was 24-5. So I just want to congratulate them on that so much and tell them how proud I am of them. They also have their first home game this coming Friday at Eastern Montgomery High School at 7 o'clock. And I think they play Rural Retreat. I'm pretty sure that's who it is. So you guys come out and support the Mustangs if you don't have anything else to do Friday night, and come out and see how that track's coming along. It's looking much better and doing great. So if you haven't seen it yet, that'll give you an excuse to come out and see it and root on the Mustangs in their first home game. I do want to congratulate the varsity Eastern Montgomery High School volleyball team. They had a victory the last week of August over the Maroon Tide, so congratulations to them. I also want to point out that there is a parent-teacher conference at Eastern Montgomery High School on September 4th, which is Thursday night. Juniors is from 6 to 6:30, and seniors are from 6:45 to 7. This is a very important meeting, parents, if you can come out to it, because This tells you and your student what all of your post-secondary graduation options are. So especially if you've got juniors and seniors, but it doesn't hurt to start with freshmen and sophomores either. And I'm going to push the ACE program because that is going to be talked about a lot Thursday night. And I know we all talk about it as a board and how proud we are of it and how our community supports that program. So if you don't know much about it and you can make that meeting for your kids, please come out to that. And I do want to say that my Falling Branch Frogs are doing something that I think is pretty cool. They have started with of course, they're elementary school. So they've got 2 incentive programs going. One is the Golden Spatula Award, which is presented weekly for the best cafeteria conduct. So if you have it that week and you get chosen, you get to carry around a golden spatula and wave it in the air and show everybody you've been a great person in the cafeteria. And the second one is the Champions of Attendance Award, and those are all weekly winners. And tons of names on the list. I can't be more proud of them. And so that is being at school every day, and not only that, but being on time, like we have talked about with other things. So we're motivating our kids to not only show up, but we're motivating them to be on time too. So kudos out to them for everything they're doing, and hopefully it continues. And I think that was all I had right now.
Board, anyone else?
Sorry, I was just going to say, I piggyback onto that, and you have to make a decision on which game on Friday nights you can go to that are home. And I'm real proud of Auburn fielding a football team after a couple years of not having it. And hopefully their next home game, I can be at that. It just kind of goes to show that sometimes sports might take a little down play for a year or two, but that doesn't mean that we need to count it out, that whether it's band, whether it's music, chorus, football, baseball, whatever the sport might be. Sometimes it takes a little lull, but the next group coming through could have a lot of interest there and be right back in place. So I'm real proud of them for that. And we'll hopefully be at that next home game.
Yeah, I'd just like to quickly recognize the Race for ACE program and Martha Ann Stallings for raising $22,500 this year for the ACE program for Montgomery County. And over the last 7 years, they've raised over $100,000. So for those that don't know, Race for ACE is a 5K race and children's fun run that occurs the first weekend of August every year. And you can come out, participate, donate. It's a good time.
Board, anyone else?
I'll just add one thing. So, last year we instituted an information campaign, and more than just an information campaign, on safe gun storage. And, there was a tragedy in our nation recently, and I don't want to politicize or say too much about it, but I just want to encourage families and students to talk to their parents about safe gun storage. When we implemented that policy and those changes, at the beginning of each year, there was supposed to be information that goes out to our community, and I don't want that just to be a one-time deal where we do that. I think at the beginning of every year, it behooves us to remind our community of just how precious life is, and whatever we can do to protect our children and our community, we should do. So I just want to encourage parents to talk to their children and children to talk to their parents. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, great. Looking ahead to our upcoming school board meetings, we actually have a special session this Thursday, September 4th. We'll have a public presentations from some of the search firms that we're considering for our superintendent search. So encourage folks to tune into that just to learn more about companies that we're reviewing and give us your feedback on them as we're considering our options there. And then in addition to our regularly scheduled meetings that you can find in board docs. All right. Do I have a motion to enter into closed session as authorized by Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia to discuss 2 personnel matters and 6 student matters?
Second?
Ms. Franklin and Ms. Purcell, any discussion? Ms. Osborne, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond? Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Dr. Gitry?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Dr. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
7 in favor.
Motion carries. We are now in closed session.